Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael and this is Happy Ghost Reacts. Today we will be reacting to Season 4, Episode 4 of Attack on Titan, named From One Hand to Another. But first, I'm going to preface, last episode was a very informational episode in terms of what was happening, like the backstory for Reiner, and pretty much everybody else that we ended up learning was there from Marley. I am going to be going over basically the whole episode because in my reaction from last episode, there was just so much, and I didn't catch it all because trying to watch it and say stuff and this and that is just really hard. So I have put together a list from start to finish, all of the key, or rather, I guess basically the entire episode in a recap. If you don't want to hear me recap everything and give my opinions on stuff, or just in general don't want to hear me recap last episode, I'm gonna have everything marked so that you can just skip right to the reaction. But for those who care to listen, I'm going to begin now. So last episode, The Door of Hope, and I'm going to be reading. It's going to look like I'm reading off of something because I put everything onto a notepad because there's no way I can remember everything I want to say about last episode, because last episode was really good and it had a lot to it. So everything that I'm saying I wrote down after watching the episode over again through my editing process and realizing all the stuff that I didn't mention and wanted to mention. So first, we start with the fact that we learn that Reiner is half Marleyan and half Eldian, and his father abandoned him and his mom because it is frowned upon, and he would have been killed if they found out that a Marleyan had a baby with an Eldian. After that, we jump into a flashback from Reiner about how it's showing how Marley promises Eldians, or rather gives them false hope, that if they do serve them in the military, that in the future they will be recognized as an equal and as a Marleyan instead of the devils that they are as Eldians. After this initial flashback, we jump into another flashback with Zeke, Marcel, Porco, Pike, Reiner, Bertolt, and Annie learning that they were all actually being trained at the same exact time. And they are all congregating in some sort of yard, and we learn that Reiner is kind of the runt or the lesser of the group, getting picked on by Porco, as we saw him push him to the ground, and then Marcel talking to him and telling him to stop. After that, like, we see Bertolt help him up, and then Annie run away, saying that she wasn't listening. And then Bertolt asks Reiner, like, is this really what you want? Because if you do get it, you only have 13 years to live your life. And his response was, well, I have 13 years to become a legend. And fair enough. I mean that's what he would be if he actually did what Marley wanted him to do. And then during that same scene, we see the contrast where it kind of pans up into the sky and comes down on Eren, over on Paradise, kind of signifying that that moment was taking place at the same exact moment that was happening over in Paradise. So we're kind of shown that most of this episode is taking place before the events of Season 1, Episode 1, and then we later jump into shots from Episode 1 and Episode 2. So then to jump back into my notes, during the episode we were shown like a narrator and then the files of each individual Titan, from Annie to Marcel as the Jaw Titan, to I think next was next was Reiner, and then next was Pike, and then the last one was Berthold. And then during all of that is kind of breaking down all of their powers and their files that Marley has on the people that they have passed the Titan powers onto. The one that I didn't mention yet was Zeke, because Zeke was in there as well, and they did say along the lines of the Beast Titan that the power was as potent as ever. And the narrator, I don't know, because I might not just recognize the voice or if it was just the narrator, but from what I picked up and the fact that it was kind of showing notes that Marley had on each Titan, they made note to say that Zeke has something special in his blood. So as we learned in the second episode, with the interaction between him and oh come on, out of everything, I forget the name of his the person he's passing it to. I'm gonna put it on the screen over my face because I shouldn't forget this, but there was so much that I'm trying to put out during this little portion before I even jump into episode 4, that nobody knows that he has royal blood in him, and that he's going to learn his secrets once he passes it on a year from now to his successor. So then after that, we see a little scene where all of the people who have been selected as the new Titan successors kind of getting paraded through the city and praised. And during that, Reiner catches a glimpse of who happened to be his father. He runs in there and confronts him and was talking about how we can like start our lives, like you just got to say that we're actually or he's Marleyan, stuff like that. And it didn't go well, as you were to expect, because as his mom stated early on, if it was found out that he had a kid with her, he would have been killed. So in fashion of Attack on Titan, where you'd think something might happen that's nice, but ends up being 10 times worse. His actual father walks out saying that he's got to leave because he's afraid for his life and the safety of his family now. And then right after that, we get a little boat scene with him and Annie, Marcel, and Berthold as they're crossing the sea over to Paradise. Then we see this little campfire scene where everybody except for Reiner is really doubting this whole mission. And then Reiner starts to talk to them about how they're the devils and stuff like that, and this, that, and the other thing, and that they should be doing it for the pride of Marley. And then Marcel breaks down crying, admitting to Reiner that he had lied to the officials who were in charge of selecting the warrior, the armor titan, talking down his brother Porco so that he wouldn't be chosen for his brother's safety, and that Reiner would be. And that is why over and over and over again prior to that, he was apologizing to him, but you really didn't have a reason as to why yet. He just kept, every time that they were in a scene together, apologizing to Reiner. Then that led into the moment that Ymir woke up, and we saw Marcel being eaten by Ymir, who then became the Jaw Titan, because she woke up from her sleep that she had just kind of laid there, and as time went on and the earth growed over her, she'd finally woken up. And there shouldn't have been any Titans out there. She was the only one out there because she never traveled to the wall like all the other Titans did. Then they all run from that because I mean, they just lost one of the Titan powers that they had out of the 4, and without the Jaw Titan, like, it's pretty messed up. But their whole plan, that is. Then so they all run and meet again under a tree, to which Annie, being the logical one, is saying that they should go and find the person who ate Marcel and take them back with them to Marley, because without the Jaw Titan they really can't do anything. But Reiner, knowing what would happen if he were to do that, continues to push forward that they should still try and find the founding Titan like their mission was, because, as Annie pointed out, he's afraid that if they go back, he's just going to have to pass his Titan power on because of his failure. And then to which he flips Annie's logic against her and Bertolt, that if all of them return, there's a good chance that all of them will have to pass their Titan powers on. And then Annie gets emotional about it because she wants to return home to her family. I'm assuming that the flashback that we saw in season 1 at the season finale, where her dad was apologizing to her, that was like preceding her being chosen as one of the people to be trained to take over as the female Titan, and she just wants to go home to her family. Then let me see where we're at. Then Annie beats Reiner to a pulp, like really beats the shit out of him, like no holding back, letting her emotions all out. And then starts to walk away, and then Reiner gets up after getting beat up to then jump tackle her to the ground, explaining that he will be Marcel if he needs to be Marcel. He will do whatever he needs to complete this mission. And then, from the look of it, knocked her unconscious, to which then it jumps into the episode 1 of the season. But from Bertolt's perspective, very briefly, he becomes the Colossal Titan, kicks the wall in, and what do you know, the first Titan he sees to walk into the wall happens to be Dina Fritz, the one who ate Aaron's mom. After that, it quickly jumps over to a scene from episode 2, where we first see the first appearance of the Armored Titan, except from Reiner's perspective, and the thoughts going through his head as he was charging the wall, and like why he was thinking why he was being apologized to by Marcel, and like his dad that doesn't want him anymore, and then trying to make his mom proud and all this stuff. And then you get a glimpse of a child inside of a Titan doing horrendous acts, and it's one of those things that hits you where it's like, they're just children. Like even Bertolt's face when he saw Dina as the smiling Titan walk past him, he looked terrified. Like they're just children, and they were, while they thought that they were ready for it, and I mean to a point they were, it's like they're just children. Then we're shown after Bertolt and Reiner do what we see them do to break 2 walls. They actually are in the same like facility shelter that Eren, Mikasa, and Armin are in, because after Annie wakes up, she looks over and sees a glimpse of them, which then they huddle and say that they need to do this for Marcel. Which, fair enough. They need to find whoever ate him, which we know who it is, Ymir, and find the founding Titan. Then we see, let's see where I was at. They then after all that, they're all sitting down with a man telling them a story, which they were the whole reason it happened. He was talking about he was in his house hearing shaking outside and opened his window to a Titan, and his kids were eaten, and it's just a very sad story. And then we later learn that this man had killed himself the following day. And Bertolt admits in a later scene that he had been having nightmares about it, because I feel like this is one of Bertolt's first moments anyways, where he kind of had his opinion changed that they're people too, not devils. Like it's one of those things where it brings out the humanity, or I suppose that's the right word, the humanity in them. But yeah. Then during that same interaction where he admits this, we learn in a previous scene to this that Annie had been sneaking in to the city, trailing Kenny long before we ever met him. I can only assume, based on context alone, that they were trying to find the family of the Ackermans, because they know that they are a huge threat to Titans, because they are very, very strong because of their bloodline, the same reason that the royal blood is able to control Titan powers so easily. But then we jump into a scene after that where it's Reiner and Eren. Eren is like struggling and upset with his training and upset that he's not as strong as Mikasa, Annie, Reiner. Like, he's like, what can I do? And he just was like, you just need to get up and keep trying. And in this brief moment, it showed a little glimpse of him seeing himself kicked to the ground. So in an instant, in a sense, he was seeing a little bit of himself in Eren, which I think was Reiner's, I suppose, maybe first real change of opinion about how they're not devils, they're just people too. During this, because it was a flashback, I thought it was the guy from season 1 in the castle or whatever, the building, the library, where he was loading the gun and killed himself. But it was actually Reiner loading a gun to kill himself. I'm assuming from all the guilt and the PTSD and everything from what he had to do and what he has done and what he still has to do. But at the same instant as he was about to pull the trigger, Falco actually, out of anger and frustration, punched the wall of the building that he happened to be in, causing Reiner to stop himself at the last second from pulling the trigger, and reminding Reiner that those kids are still his reason to live as of right now. After that, Falco runs away, and the soldier from the previous episode who Falco was like, oh, you're wearing the armband on the wrong arm, that I even pointed out being more than just a little scene like that. Like, it wasn't just oh, he just messed up putting the armband on the wrong arm, because as an Eldian, you were kind of like pushed into your brain, hey, you need to do this, you are lesser than. There's no way that somebody who is that old in an Eldian would forget what arm to put your armband on. I think the only way that would be allowed is if you lost your arm completely and you had to put it on the other arm. But then during that whole interaction, the man calls him over, begins a conversation with him, kind of admits something to him that Falco could presumably show to, or bring to authorities to get him in trouble, to kind of like create this rapport, I suppose, with Falco, to kind of like make him more vulnerable and want to talk more when asked questions. And he was fishing for information about, like, you're one of the people who are chosen as like a warrior, right? And he's like, I don't want to be a warrior. And then he brings up Gabby, and he starts asking questions about Gabby, and then the man goes on a whole tangent about how shitty life is because of the war, and how everybody's being treated as Eldians and this, that, and the other thing. And as the scene progressed, you kind of like start to piece together the puzzle, because the voice acting sounded familiar from the start. The long hair looked like a certain color that started to really piece together the observation of like, this person seems and sounds familiar. And then the very, very final shot of the episode is a frontal shot, to which I think puts the nail in the coffin that who Falco was talking to was actually Eren. This is 4 years in the future now. It would make sense that as he already had super long hair at the end of season 3, that he could continue to grow it out as long as he had it, and have facial hair and become a man basically. But you kind of had these misdirections with his injuries, because I mean, if he were to go into Titan form and come out, then he would just be completely healed. But we learned that it is Eren. I believe it's Eren. I could still be wrong, but the green eye and everything, I believe it's Eren. But now, after looking at my recording timer, I've been on talking for almost 20 minutes. So without further ado, all of you who have stuck with me during this long tangent, I don't know if I'll do anything like this again in the future. If you like it, please let me know. I really like discussing these, because I don't want to miss anything, because I don't want to go into another episode lacking information and not giving the best reaction I can. So now, officially, without further ado, I'm going to stop my blabbering. and we are going to get in to Season 4, Episode 4, From One Hand to Another. Let's go. Oh, so I think this is the first time I've seen him smile. Oh, it is! It is! It is! Mr. Kruger! So he asked him a favor to send mail. Ah, he's gonna be having mail sent back to somewhere. Oh, the family that has the Warhammer Titan has come to visit. It just looks like a normal family to me. I wouldn't be able to guess either. The Tybur's kind of brand stuff. It's probably still do. Probably so used to being like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's how she lives in that Titan form. It's gonna be really hard to to invade paradise. Not like anybody else has any better ideas. I feel like somehow something's gonna happen and he's gonna pass her. Let him have a win. The big contrast between how the guards treated Aaron's dad and how it is now. Oh, he kind of admitted what Reiner told him to do it for her, so she doesn't have to deal with the repercussions of what it means to actually be a Titan holder. Oh man. And they're gonna be feasting like kings and queens. She gives me Annie vibes. Ah. Man, she's full of herself. Ah. Ooh. A lot of weight when you're the one who's kind of in charge of all this kind of stuff. So he's kind of like subtly training him, or giving him advice. Man, he's been accidentally aiding the enemy. He doesn't know. He's gonna feel like an idiot once he feels used. That's his grandparent. Grandpa. Oh, he took the last name of the owl. Yeah, that's his grandpa. I know I'm gonna put it in there, but I remembered his name now. His brother's name's Colt.
おかしな疑いをかけられてはグライスケの努力が無駄になってしまう。そして心が健康なら家族のもとにお帰りなさい。
Confrontation.
後悔を残してからでは遅いのだ。
And to be fair, he is seeing his family right now. Ooh, asking him the hard question, we all know. Man, he's really good at drawing out information and causing him to freak out. Oh, whatever. Uh-oh.
お恥ずかしい。ワインを着物にこぼしてしまいまして手を借りていましたの。
She's nice.
それは大変です。どうぞこちらへ。
どうしてあなたがどんな目に遭うかわからない。
Very true. She's a good woman.
おぐえの大使、お久しぶりです。なんびや、子供の時以来だな。
あの頃はよくあなたを泣かしていましたね。
覚えてるか、ビリー。あの時木から落ちた傷だな。
And Willy's friends with everybody.
今宵は誠にありがとうございます。我々はつい先日まで資源を求め醜い争いを演じてまいりました。しかし昨日の敵は今日も敵。
We can only hope.
昨日の敵は今日の友。過去にあったことは酒と共にトイレへ流し。
Oh, this toast is not going well.
それでは末永き平和に。ありがとうございます。大使殿のジョークは大変高度な代物でした。しかしお客様は共通語が聞き取れなかったようなので、あとは私にお任せを。
He's got to be the one to talk. He's seemed to be renowned by all.
皆様をレベリオ収容区に招待させていただきます。そこはかつて多くの国の民を虐殺した私と同じ血が流れる民族。
So he is Eldian as well. Makes sense though.
中でも最も虐げられたマーレはその悪魔を使って他国を虐げ、悲劇は繰り返された。エルディア人の根絶を願う気持ちはよくわかります。私はこの終わりのない問題に対して一つの回答を導き出しました。
Must be a good solution.
私が初演出を務める舞台で披露させて。
Gonna reveal a solution to a world problem with theater? I guess that works. This festival's crazy. Really takes you out of realizing it's an Attack on Titan. They're enjoying themselves. Man, kids in a festival. This is their first festival. They're probably gonna live it up. Hopefully. Oh yeah, they gonna treat them all. Come on, yeah, have a little fun. But we all know Attack on Titan style. When a good scene happens, not too far after is a horrible scene. Food coma. Hopefully. Oh, that episode was interesting. We kind of learned there at the start. The Tybur family arrived, and had a discussion with the leading officer of the warrior unit. To which then we learned that Willy is kind of like the face of everybody. Later in the episode, we kind of saw that at that gathering with all the fancy people, that people from all different parts of the continent or whatever, the different nations, all love and respect him. And he himself admitted to, I believe he admitted, that's how I interpreted the way he was saying it, that he was an Eldian too. And so he's technically a part of the race of devils that everybody wants exterminated. But along the way, my confirmation was right. That was Aaron. And it wasn't because I when I heard Kruger, like I made me I didn't realize right away that he was using I mean, Kruger, and then he met Jaeger, his dad's side, or his grandpa technically. Like that was a very interesting scene too. I didn't realize that he was a patient too. I guess like he had gone crazy after everything happened from what it looked like. I mean, I could be misinterpreting this whole thing, and if I am, please correct me in the comments. But then we see Aaron creating this relationship with Falco, and I guess using him to send mail to presumably like Levi, Mikasa, Armin, all of them, Historia. I don't know who's all over on the continent now. I mean, we know Aaron is, that's for sure. Then I guess like tips and tricks that Aaron was giving to Falco helped him finally outdo Gabby in something, which was the race, which was very cool to see. Then we also got to see them planning the invasion of Paradise again. No, they were kicked out because they were kind of like brainstorming, and Reiner was just essentially saying it's going to be very, very difficult to breach that island. They're prepared now. Then we learned that Tybur's kind of the driving force behind Marley and their military, in a sense. Like he's the supreme commander, I think was the right terminology. The supreme, whatever it was, kind of just he was the person behind the scenes running things, if that makes sense. Then at the end, we learned that Willy has a plan to kind of fix everything with the Eldians through a playwright, some sort of play that he's gonna put on the following day. And at the end, we jump into a little bit of a festival and let the kids like have their moment being kids, like enjoying sweets and pigging out, and Reiner just allowing them to have a relaxing time because they've never experienced something like that before. And that was really nice to see. But in Attack on Titan fashion, I'm sure that that very good scene is going to follow a very bad scene come later. And either next, I'm assuming it's going to be next episode. I mean, this episode seemed too light and too everything was going too good. In Attack on Titan, that's not good because it's usually followed with bad. But yeah, I think that's everything that I have for this episode. I'm curious to see this playwright that he has written that should solve the world's problems with Eldians. But yeah, until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed, or if you didn't sit through my 20 minutes at the beginning, no worries. I just wanted to really recap last episode, especially because there was just so much information to unpack, and I didn't do it justice in the video before. I don't think I'm going to do that with this video that we just watched. Or this episode we just watched, because I think I covered everything that happened in the episode to a point that I'm satisfied with. So thank you all again for watching my Attack on Titan series. Thank you all for all of your support throughout my One Punch Man and this series going on. I just want to keep saying thank you because it means the world to me. And until next time with Season 4, Episode 5 of Attack on Titan, I hope you all have a great day, and peace.